this week, the last couple of days, the first day I did an interview with Chewy Photo. Yesterday I had Dawn Photo with us, and today I'm so excited because I have the Foxes with the Foxes Photography. They are amazing elopement photographers, someone who I've been looking up to forever. If you guys haven't seen their work already, you have to, because when you think of mountains, you should think of the Foxes. I think that's like the only thing that I could tell people whenever I talk about the Foxes. Before I bring them up here, I would love for you guys to see a little bit of their work. They have an amazing introduction video. Let me bring that up right now for you guys. 1 second. All right. So, hi.
What's up?
Oh my God, that video is insane.
Oh,
you should have seen us. Literally, what, 20 minutes ago, Brandon was like scrambling to throw this together.
This one. It was fun. Luckily, we already had some of those clips like organized. So
yeah, I was like, so sorry. I'm so red today because I just got home from working out, and then I saw your text message about like this video. I'm like, oh my God, I have to watch this video real quick and get everything set up. And my face the whole time I was watching the video was like this, like, are you? So welcome to the Foxes here. This is their glass with their logo. The Foxes with the Airstream thing here.
Yeah, for our wedding, my friend, my old ad partner, actually is a designer. He made these for us. So it's got our Airstream and Ico, the two important things in our lives.
Well, and mountains.
Yeah. And
mountains. Thank you for this, by the way. We've been using this almost every day at our house.
Oh, yeah, they're fun.
That drink looks beautiful in it. What are you sipping on?
Viet made me this kombucha thing that has alcohol in it. So it's some sort of ginger, some sort of berry, and I love both. So yeah. So
it's definitely good.
For the people who are sitting at home, and people should know you guys, but just a quick intro. I would love for you guys to tell everybody here who you are, what you do, your names, all that stuff.
Yeah. Cool. I'm Gabby.
I am Brandon.
We're the Foxes. That's our real last name.
Yes, Gabby and Brandon Fox.
We're elopement photographers. We're climbers. We're road lifers. We're Airstream renovators.
Because you have like 10,000 Instagram accounts.
True story. We do. Yes.
But we keep up with just one of them.
I mean,
and then when we hit the road, we post or we, yeah. It all started, we have a climbing account, and then it was the Airstream account, and then it was the business account, and yeah.
Yeah. So how did you guys get into wedding photography in the first place?
Hold on real quick. I just want to show you guys something.
Yes, I want to see. Oh my gosh. He's so good.
Sorry. He's just being really distracting, and I had to share.
You know I cannot have mine here because their breathing alone is already loud and distracting. And with seeing you guys, they probably want to say hello, and I'll be like, you can't. That's why I cannot have any of them here.
Oh man.
I forget the question. Oh, how we got in? Yeah.
How did you guys get into this? Like just wedding first, and then we can talk about elopement after that. But like, how did you guys transition from? Because I know before this you were doing climbing and and you guys had like business, like an office job, like 9 to 5, right? So how did all of this happen?
So like really compressed story
Very
from the
long
beginning.
story short.
It's like we were living in Boston. I was a copywriter. Gabby was in accounting. And in 2014, we hit the road to do like a climbing trip for a year. And I've always been into cameras. And so we were doing a lot of photography and like honing our skills there, blogging, doing travel photography. That year ended and we were like, we can't go back to our jobs. We got to keep doing this. So we were scrambling for the next year. We did climbing videos, random photo gigs, and kind of towards the end of the second year, we started planning our own wedding and getting into wedding photography because we were like, cool, this is seasonal. We can climb in the winter, which is like actually the best time to climb around the States for what we do. And yeah, we got more and more into wedding photography. And as soon as we kind of decided to home base in Washington, it was like all in on elopements from then on.
That's awesome. So how did you get that first, because you guys photographed traditional weddings before, yeah? Like a wedding at a venue.
Yeah, so we pretty much our first year was just shooting weddings, like full-time weddings, and we were working with a lot of outdoorsy couples that were having like barn weddings or like weddings at venues that like had, you know, nice views and scenery, things like that. And so
we didn't even know what an elopement was. We thought like the pinnacle of wedding photography of what we wanted to do was like outdoorsy, like barn or just
traditional weddings, but
non-traditional traditional weddings.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, like versus like the downtown Seattle where everything is like very urban and like but you guys want something more like like maybe a traditional wedding at a barn, but more like you can still go and get like trees in the back and maybe some mountains in the back. So how did you know about elopement photography or like of what elopement photography is today? Because I think when you guys first started out and jumping head on with elopement, it wasn't something that's so well known to everybody now. So how was that process?
Yeah, so I think like it was just starting to get a little popular. People were seeing elopement style photos on Instagram and Pinterest. And when we figured out that was a thing, we started seeing that kind of work. Brandon and I were like, screw weddings. We're going all in on elopements. And we were basically like, if there's not enough couples to sustain being full-time elopement photographers, we don't care. Like, we're going to be full-time elopement photographers. And we made that conscious like switch in our branding and our marketing. Like, it was like we just stopped using the word weddings, and in all of our advertising, we were elopement photographers. And
which is an interesting discussion because like thinking back, that was totally a thing.
It's like before anyone else was doing that.
We totally had that question of like, oh, are we going to be making our wedding couples? Because we were still booking some weddings, you know, the second year to round out the season. And we were like, will they feel like we don't care about their weddings anymore? And like, fortunately, we totally didn't experience that.
Yeah, everyone felt like they got it. But yeah, so like the very first one we ever booked was from a Facebook ad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like, did you guys have to do Facebook ads for like months, or like for someone like myself who have seen it but have never tried it? And I'm pretty sure people sitting at home watching us right now, like, what is like Facebook ads? Like, tell us more about like what was that like for you?
Yeah, so we our very first year doing weddings, the first, I think January, like during booking season, like we ran Facebook ads. We have a great blog post about this on our website.
Ooh, yes.
Out in like major details. If you're interested in like seeing details, go there. But we spent $1,000 on Facebook ads. Brandon has background in copywriting, so he used to write commercials back in another life.
Not that exciting. You know Flo, the progressive girl? Yeah. Wrote for her a little bit. Way back in the day.
You have to. You guys mention that somewhere on your website? Like,
flow on our website, you know.
Yeah.
you have to. You have to include flow somewhere.
Yeah, but we should shoot Flo's elopement. That'd be hilarious.
Wow.
I forgot what I was saying.
that'd be the best.
So we ran about a month, just 1 month of Facebook ads, spent $1,000, booked our whole season of shooting weddings. Our whole first season was.
I think we spent $1,000 and we booked $30,000 worth of weddings and elopements.
And
Wow.
So it was a pretty good return on.
And there were one or two clients. It's that I think that just they had the idea of eloping. They saw our ad and they were like, "Hey, I think you guys would be into this. You know, it seems like you've got a background in landscapes." And that was like really we booked our first elopement from a wedding advertisement, ironically enough. But yeah, so that's how we booked.
That's awesome. So what about now? Like, do you guys still use Facebook ads? What other ways that you guys like market yourself, like put your names out there?
Yeah.
So fortunately for us now, we've been doing this for a while now, and like we've put out so much content and like grown our website that we don't need to run ads anymore. We get a lot of just organic inquiries that are coming through search results, or they're finding us on Pinterest or Instagram. So those are kind of like the big three. And that, yeah, I think after the first year, we kind of stopped having to run ads. And I remember feeling like we had discussions when we were first getting started. We were like, I can't wait till the day when people are just able to find us without us running ads. And that time came probably within the year, and it was like the best feeling. So, and I really, it's not like there's this massive hurdle, like you need to have the most amazing SEO and stuff. I really think if you just are out there creating content in a pretty quick amount of time, people will be seeing your work on Instagram, and there are some things you can do to be found online, and you just get creative with it. There's definitely some
No, I like that. I like that you say about just go out there and create content. And for people who's sitting at home, right? I mean, let's just say that things are going to be open back up and people can go out and go take photos. Let's just ignore this COVID-19 thing. But for those who, like either so new to the wedding industry or who's been doing traditional weddings for years, but really want to jump on to the elopement world and want to try it out, and they don't have anything to show, what are some ways that you think they can do in order to show that, yes, they can go and do nature adventure elopement and hiking and all that? What would be some advice that you guys have for them?
I love this question.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do a whole video on just this question, but I think it really comes down to just showing people or getting people inspired. So when we first started, like we didn't really have a whole lot of work in our portfolio. We didn't have any elopements. We had very few couples, and we just shared what we did have. We had a lot of photos from our travels. And we started going out and just like taking pictures of each other and like just just trying to be creative with what we could create, what we had in our toolkit.
You could even just put a landscape photo out there and be like, you can just talk about these places.
Yeah.
We tried to make it. We tried to put the info out there that like, although we may not have a vast portfolio of work, like look at the other work that we do have, look what we're capable of, and we try to make ourselves, show that we are experts on the outdoors, and we kind of drew from our past. And that, go ahead.
I would say too, like, especially with elopement photography, it's not just about the photos. It's about the entire experience that the couple has. You're spending the whole day, just the four of you, or the three of you, if you're a single shooter. And so much of elopement photography is like the human connection and the human aspect of it, and like creating a really fun day, a really fun experience, and connecting with each other on a personal level. So making sure that you have that stuff on your website or on your social media, like you're marketing that along with the photos and the work that you're creating. Like, it definitely is a combination of that.
Yeah.
What I have one last thing to add.
Like I
think
said, we could do a whole video on this question.
It's really practical to a lot of people. If you have, you know, a few weddings booked, those couples, one thing that we did our first year of weddings here was offered free, like day after adventure sessions. Even if it wasn't the day after, we were like, hey guys, look, we're shooting your wedding. This is awesome. We're trying to get into these elopements. We love this stuff. And so we were like, would you want to go out, you know, someday to this spot on the Oregon coast and do some photos? And I mean, 9 times out of 10, they were super psyched at that opportunity. I mean, we're putting in some extra free work, but they're still paying couples. They're still, you know, real wedding couples. We went out, we created that work, and that allowed us to have some more stuff to go in our portfolio.
No, that's a really good advice. And I actually never thought of that, you know, in a way. If you're learning and you're practicing on a couple that you already have a relationship with, it's so much easier than just to find random people on the internet that you don't know and just like, hey, do you want to go model for me by the Oregon coast? There's a couple that you worked with before and they trusted you enough to book you. So like in a way, it's a win-win situation. It's win for you to try something new, to step into a new world, a new direction, and it's win for them because they now get extra photos.
Totally, because the experience is so much different when you're going out with a real couple than just a model and you're just trying to get the photos. Because when you're out with a real couple, you are just as focused on their experience as the photos, and that's very much what an elopement is all about.
Yeah. This is why I invite you guys on this thing. Like, elopement, the foxes. So speaking of elopements, what are some, like, are they all, how different are they from one to another? Like, do you guys do all day with most of your couples, or would some just do like a certain amount of hours? What does it look for those people who've never done an elopement before? What does it look like?
Yeah, man, every single one is different. Every single one of them is different than the last.
There's like different tiers.
Yeah.
I mean, our first elopement was a 2-hour elopement, all in one location. Didn't really hike around. Our first 2 elopements were like that.
So, granted, they were in like the snow, and it was like blizzarding out, and so you don't want to be outside for more than 2 hours. But
we kind of went from thinking elopements we're like, oh, it's just a photo shoot with a couple. How can this last longer than 2 hours? To the point where we were like,
we need a full day.
Our only package is a full day, and a full day being like 6 to 8 hours. You know, because we're like, we need this time.
Yeah. And I think as far as like we photograph all kinds of elopements on the adventure scale. It's like all over the board. Like we'll do elopements where it's like we're spending the whole time on like a 1-mile trail with no elevation gain. And we're working with a client that's probably never been hiking before, all the way through like, you know, a multi-day backpacking trip or like a multi-pitch alpine climb. Like we'll work with all kinds of couples, all kinds of locations, all kinds of places. Like, yeah.
We definitely threw some of our more adventurous elopement shots in that intro video, like the snow backpacking elopement and the climbing thing. Like we love the big adventure elopements, but we also love the like chiller, hang out in one area and have a really leisurely day, just wandering around and celebrating. Honestly, like you need to mix.
Those are some of our favorite days too.
Yeah. No, that sounds amazing. I mean, God, like just to like camp out there and like sleep with them like the night before and like wake up together and start the whole day together. I've seen some of your like blog posts on that. I'm here like drooling over like everything. So let's see. We talked about
Henry, you're so kind. I'm like getting like red and You were just showering the compliments.
I know.
I love it. Don't stop.
No, it's true though. Like that's why I think. Okay, let's talk about the first time that I've ever seen. Not first time ever seen your work, but I think the first photo that made me like stopped and stare at everything was the photo of you guys together in front of your Airstream in the middle of the desert, and there's the mountain in the back. Like I can't. I think Gabby was you're like straddling onto him, and Brandon you like piggybacking her or something. I think it was that photo. That was like it has to be like a couple years ago. I can't remember for sure. And then that's when I like started following you guys and see like what the heck is going on. And this is another story between the three of us that not everybody on, I don't think anybody on here knows, is that we started talking on Instagram and we went out for fried chicken. When we met up and we had spicy fried chicken one rainy night in Seattle and Georgetown. And that's how we started hanging out and talking. I think it was right before the Super Bowl, wasn't it? Like,
it was. I remember. And you were just kind of getting started, and we had seen your work, like likewise, getting blown away, being like, this guy is super talented and he's exploding. Like, so wow, creative. Like we need to take an Instagram course from you for sure, because we may have accounts, but we aren't the greatest at utilizing them.
Yeah, so we went out for that dinner, and the next day, like it was just one of those things, you know, like you meet people on the internet and you're like, how long, how far can this relationship go? And you never know. So, and I was yesterday there was some conversation about being an introvert and showing yourself and being there, like showing up, and that was one of my ways to deal with pulling my introvert self outside. It was to say yes to opportunities, to say yes to things that make me uncomfortable, and going out to dinner with someone who I've never met before. That was me pulling myself out. And I'm so grateful that I say yes to that opportunity and that I met up with you guys, because then like right after that one dinner, we started hanging out even more. And like literally like the day after we started hanging out again, like that was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned like being an introvert too, because like I remember Brandon and I, before we met you, were like, what is he gonna be like? He's so funny on Instagram, and like we after we met you, were like, oh my god, he's so down to earth, he's so laid back, like
so you
and me just like so chill, like easy to get along with. It was like. Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder too. I'm like, am I too much on Instagram? You know, should I stop? Is the twerking on the wall a little bit too out there?
No, don't stop twerking.
Anyway, so for those of you guys who are just tuning in now, please feel free to ask us questions about elopement photography, adventure elopements, anything you want to know. Gabby, Brandon, and I would just chit chat, talk about everything, whatever that we talked about, and at the end of the whole live chat we'll take your questions, so don't be afraid to ask questions now. So what are something that you guys pack when you go on an adventure elopement? We can start with photography related, which would be like, how many cameras do you think is necessary? Like how many lenses should we think about? And then we can go off from that into supplies and whatever else. Like what are some like key things that you like cannot go without?
Yeah. This is actually, we just put out a gear video answering this entire question. So like if anyone wants to go after they watch this live to our YouTube, you can watch like a whole 10-minute video of us going through everything. But
I like 10 minutes because I cannot stand anything longer than that.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah.
No, 10 minutes is good.
10 minutes is long. You're like, but there's so much to cover, so it's
true. You know, the thing is, you have to, but you know what I mean by if you watch a YouTube, you click on a YouTube video and it's like 45 minutes long, and you're just like so discouraged already. And that's my whole channel.
Like, I ain't got time for this. I can't say this in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we both go out with 2 cameras, and I think if you're a solo shooter, definitely invest in a second camera if you don't have one. It's just so nice when you're out there to like be able to change lenses essentially without changing lenses, especially when you're out in the elements. And we shoot on primes, mostly like 24, 35, 50, 85, and then we'll have a telly with us.
Yep.
And
yeah, legit.
Yep.
We shoot Sony, and we started out shooting Nikon. Actually, like years and years ago, we were shooting Canon. But I actually, when we switched to Sony, Henry was like my main source of is this worth giving a go? I remember texting you being like, so which 50mm lens do you have? Like, do you?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but that first night that I hung out at your house, I came over to your house, I had my camera with me that night.
Oh, really?
I did.
That.
The reason why I think was because we met the night before, and the morning after I went on a shoot, and I had my backpack with me and everything. So when I went to your house, I brought my backpack inside, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is what I shoot. And you guys are all like, wow. And then you guys like talking about like Nikon, and I think who else was there at that time? I think it was just us that was photographers, and Erica, who's an event planner that we offer, who is our friend and we work with as well. So yeah, it was that night that I first brought the Sony camera to your house too.
That's right. When we were all like, ooh, ah.
And yeah, we like Nikon, but we're pretty psyched on Sony. We're pretty glad we switched. We haven't really looked back.
Yeah.
So it's a good setup. And what other gear is super important that we bring?
I mean, as far as camera gear goes, like we just love the fast prime lenses, and yeah, I mean
I'll typically shoot I like 24-50 being a little wider, and Gabby like 35-85. I think if you're one photographer going out, 35-85 is like such a good combo. That gives and
Henry, what do you shoot with?
Sony A7 III, and so depends, right? So on the day of getting ready, like sometimes when you're getting, a lot of my elopement couple, they always want to start at a cabin somewhere, because I think they all like that one A-frame session that I've done on my website, and everybody it doesn't matter if it's an A-frame cabin, but they like the vibe of like getting ready together and staying in a cabin together. So in the cabin situation where everything is so tight, I use a 24, just so that I can get into like the little corners and get more angles of, everything. But during ceremony or like landscape or adventure photos, then a combination between 35 and 50 is what I usually do. I do have an 85 with me, but it's, as you can tell already, like with the 85, you have to be further out, and that's so a lot of places
where you are. Yeah, it depends on
where you go.
Yeah.
That's when I'm on the 100-400, that's when we give the couple the walkie-talkie, and then I run like 2 football fields away, and I'm like, all right, Dipper.
Like Yosemite at Taft Point, like you have to be so far, and so the walkie-talkie comes in handy.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah, over and out. That's kind of a good segue, I guess, into like other shit that we bring with us on elopements. Like walkie-talkies are great, especially if you're like driving. Like, if you start at a cabin and then you're like driving to the trailhead, if you're in separate cars or if there's guests that are coming with us.
And there's no cell signal.
Yeah, giving one of them a walkie, and you guys have a walkie, you can stay connected, which is like saved our lives so many times. Man, we bring so much.
We have like a whole, and I'm curious if you've got. I'm sure you have some stuff that you kind of take with you on every elopement. But like, we have a duffel bag that's full of like clear umbrellas. We have even an extra. Gabby had a great idea to get like a white rain jacket. Because last year it seemed like July supposed to be dry. No, it was raining every single day.
Every day in July.
And I know you were shooting in Rainier when it was raining every day too.
Yeah.
So it's like having rain gear, just extra supplies for the couple is what makes up a lot of it. Because
a lot of our couples
they're busy getting ready for the day, and they might forget hats or layers or a blanket,
or they don't even have that stuff. Like a lot of our couples are from, you know, out of state, and so many of them are from like Florida or Georgia or like places that you wouldn't have a puffy. You know, you don't. There's no need for a down jacket.
Yeah.
And we literally have a bag of down jackets that we bring with us, hot hands, gloves, extra hats, micro spikes if it's a shoulder season and there's snow,
portable speaker.
Poles. Yeah, speaker. God,
everything you'd want to have a party on a mountaintop, basically.
And we've seen that on your Instagram. Like, there's so many picnics and party and on the mountaintop. No, that's great.
A good time.
I think this ties right back into your talk earlier about the experience of someone who's working with you, because you come prepared and you know things might not, like, to us here from Washington, we're like, duh, like, you're going out this time of the year, of course it's going to be cold, of course it's going to rain, maybe. But then for people from Florida, they don't know that. So for you guys to
I don't know that in the middle of summer when you're up in the mountains at 8 to 10,000 feet,
it might be cold.
It's going to be cold in August even. So and that's a big thing that we try to do too. And I think elopement photographers kind of taking on the role of planner is it's a lot of educating the couples, and just even if they are the outdoorsy person and they're like, guys, come on, what do I look like? Like, I know this stuff. This is basic.
We tell everybody, we brief everybody on every possible thing, case scenario, because we want everyone to
it never hurts to be over-prepared.
Yeah.
That's awesome, you guys. So should we take questions?
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, let's do a drink. Cheers. And then for every question, we will we'll have to drink again.
A lot of drinking.
Lots of drinking. So I'll scroll down, and now we can see the question. Well, that's okay. Cool. The question is too long that it doesn't show all the way, so I'll read. Okay, here.
Yeah.
In my country, elopements almost don't exist. I mean, the 99% of people who haven't heard from them, but I will like to educate people from here to try it. How can I educate the couples about elopements? What can I say to make them excited and want to research more about it, to see if it's the best option for them to go do an elopement rather than a huge wedding? So basically, how do you show and educate people about something that they have never heard before?
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like oh shoot, we got a drink. Okay.
I like how you, oh shoot, we have to drink.
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, so really it's with showing people elopements, but showing people a new location or a new type of elopement, or like really with anything, it's just showing people what's possible. And that could be going out in your hometown and going to a park in your backyard and taking some really cool photos with a couple, and just vlogging it, talking about eloping and what it means to couples and why it's special to do that, why it's special to have the ceremony and say your vows to each other without a whole audience of people listening in on you. Just thinking about the different elements of an elopement, why it's special for a couple, and showing that to people.
What we have done from the very beginning is not looking at it, don't look at it as we need to convince these people that an elopement is the way to go, that it's awesome, that this is really fun. We just show them, we believe this is really fun. We make it look fun. We put it out. I think early on we had what is an elopement, on our main website, just put the information there, educate people, show them that it's fun. And the people that speaks to they're going to see that and be like, yeah, that is what I want.
That's what I want.
Yeah. And I think, you is so right about, you know, showing people, because I remember I'm a stalker in a way. Like I like to stalk people and like go on the Instagram and the website and everything. And it's your website and your Instagram is so consistent in showing that, in not just showing the photo, but in your caption you talk about that experience, about how fun this can be, about like you can choose to do things whatever way you do. And then from there, I click on that photo and learn about it. Want to read more about this blog post, go on to your blog post, and that language is there again. And I think that like showing up, talking about it in multiple like uh, places, it show people that you don't, that Instagram is not the only way, you know, like there's multiple ways that you can show people that.
Definitely.
And I'll say too, real quick on that,
Yeah.
when you do start shooting couples and they have an incredible elopements and your couples have incredible experiences, really just ask them to put reviews out there on Google and on your and testimonials on your website, because when future couples read how much fun they had and how much they loved their day, they're like, that's like more reinforcement of like, yeah, this is really exciting and I want to do this. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. All right. Let's see the next one. Okay, it's another long one. I have a couple who hire me for an 8-hour wedding package for 150 people. Now they are changing it due to COVID, and they more likely will have an elopement. They are expecting a discount as it will be less hours and just the 2, maybe 10 other guests. Should I give the discount? What should I do?
Yeah.
Oh.
I caught you.
I'm
Cheers.
just so ready to answer this one. I think. Wait.
I don't know. Look, we haven't had that happen to us. I feel like it's hard for us to give true advice.
I mean, I think there's. I mean, my first reaction to that is, don't respond negatively or just like shut down the idea of reducing a price or anything, but instead frame it in the sense, like if I was in that photographer's shoes, it would be like, well, okay, now we're planning an elopement. That's a lot more work for me. I need to find a suitable location. When you're shooting an elopement, photographers kind of take on the role of a planner. You're no longer working at a venue. So you could try just having a discussion with the couple, hop on the phone and say, look, like, I don't want to just compromise on your day because we're switching from a wedding to an elopement. Like, look at this as an opportunity to do something different that's going to be really awesome in its own way. And like, I wouldn't immediately jump to offering a discount because it is going to be a lot more work for the photographer. And I think there just needs to be a dialogue between the photographer and the couple about, what that extra work is going to be, getting them excited about the idea and just kind of showing them that, maybe it's a couple.
You can give them an 8-hour day too. Like, we shoot 8-hour elopements all the time, and those are freaking incredible days. Like, they're amazing.
If you don't have elopements to show, I mean, even find some blogs that show what a day could look like that you could offer them, and that might help paint the picture in their mind. Because like that's another thing that we've learned is like couples have a hard time being told, but if they can be shown, they will really get on board.
I like that you guys provide like a variety of different options and like don't jump into something like 100% right away. Like, do not jump into like, yes, I will give you the discount right away, or do not jump into like, no, I won't give you like the discount, but more like an open and honest conversation is, I think, what's going to help the most, because nobody wanted this. Like nobody was prepared for this at all or knew and about what to do. So the right or wrong answer here is not, there's no right or wrong answer, I don't think. But most likely it's just, yeah, if you want to, like do elopement for them, then you have to know what's involved in photographing and planning an elopement.
And that might just come from that might be a perspective that we have, because as elopement photographers, our relationship with couples, I think, is a lot more involved than like when we were just wedding photographers. We would talk to them, and it's kind of like you're showing up to be the photographer at the wedding. But elopement photographers, like, we are becoming really good friends with these people.
We're the maid of honor. We're
the witnesses, the
best man.
All of it. Yeah. So like our first reaction is always just to like get on the phone with them and be like, hey guys, so like let's talk about this.
Yeah, I will say, like, having conversations live and talking to each other and like hearing, tone of voice and picking up on things like that is so much better too than just like typing out emails and being like, because people can read things differently.
And this is a tough time.
Yeah.
Like, these are tough situations.
That's my biggest fear too. Like typing something like in a way that I mean in a good, genuine way, and someone take it and read it in a way like, why is Henry a bitch? I mean, I'm a bitch. Can I say this on Facebook Live? But but I do. That's why like I jump on the phone with clients any chance I can get, even though talking on the phone scared the crap out of me. Like I just get like, oh my God, like I have to get ready for a phone call.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I even got this before we hopped on this live. I was like, I could feel my heart racing. And there was like the little countdown thing showing up on the screen. And I was like, it's starting.
It's starting. People on the internet can hear us. Internet people. I think this is a good one for the newbies. Like think of yourself when you first start. Because I know for today, what you guys do is totally, you're the expert in the in the elopement photography world. But this is awesome for those who just want to start out. Like, how do you price differently for elopements versus weddings?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
I'll take this one away.
Yeah. Honestly, like we've always charged at least the same that we would for a wedding, or if not more. Because as Brandon was just saying, like, it's way more work to shoot a wedding. Like, from beginning to end, you're planning everything. They're constantly, relying on you for being the expert, the educator. You're helping people. You're guiding people through the entire process of planning this elopement. And then the day of, you're spending, a whole day with them, just like you would with a wedding. And yeah, so we've always priced ourselves high because we're investing a lot of time with them.
I will say, in the beginning though, like, we did offer smaller packages for elopements because that's what we thought elopements were, just like 2 hours. And so, yeah, that was cheaper than a 8-hour wedding. And that makes sense because we were working less. But as we only
booked
only a couple, yeah. And then as we started to do like longer days, we would charge more, to the point where, like, I really don't think if you want to add elopements to your services, I really don't think it should be any less than a wedding. You're going to be doing more work, most likely. And another thing to keep in mind is that couples who are eloping, their expenses for their wedding are way lower in all the other areas outside the photographer. And usually the photographer is their number one thing that they're budgeting for. So don't look at it. It's just not really the same as like couples budgeting for a wedding versus elopements.
And then just like from a psychology perspective, like, I know that there's a lot of photographers out there charging very little for their elopement packages, and couples see that and they're like, well, why are they so cheap? Is that, does that correlate to their work or the kind of experience I'm going to get? So from just a psychological perspective too, I think it doesn't make sense to sell yourself short,
I think you charge for what you feel you're worth. You don't just charge less just because it's an elopement. Right. You charge less than another photographer because you know that you aren't as experienced and you're not ready to charge that amount yet. It's not like everyone should just go out and charge $8,000 for an elopement. But just a few different things to think about.
Yeah, I like that. And I like that, Brandon, you say you charge for what you feel worth, because this ties back to the conversation yesterday when I had with Don, where we talked about like newbies and you go out there and how much should I charge for something. And if you're so new at something, like not just elopement, but just say wedding photography in general, either wedding or elopement, you just started shooting, like, let's just say you just finished your first wedding ever, and now you want to step into elopement photography, there's no way that you should charge like you guys charge, because then you don't know if you can deliver what you promise. You don't know if you can deliver the kind of things that you've seen on the internet when you don't have the experience. I mean, like after you have that first elopement or the second elopement, then that's when you get to know for sure like your limits, your strengths, your weaknesses, whatever else you need to work on, so that but you're so right about like we do so much more than just being the photographer.
Yeah.
Let me see. This is not a question, but the limit does not exist in Torqueville.
I'll cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Here's another one we should cheer for. Everything You Want to Have a Party of Mountaintop sounds like a great album name. This is what Brandon said earlier. And then, since we already drank, how many hours would you advise for an elopement coverage package? I think we covered some of this earlier.
If you're just getting into it, it depends on how long the hike, but like I would say 4 to 6, maybe, or anywhere 4 to 8.
Yeah, I mean, it totally depends on the kind of day you're having and
how many locations you're going to.
Yeah,
if you're starting at the cabin.
Yeah.
But we always feel like we want to make sure that the couple, like at the end of every single elopement, like I always hear our couples like whisper to each other like, oh, I just wish this day would never end. Like literally every single one of them, I hear it. And I would just say that as you're planning with couples and like, the hours that the packages or whatever that you're putting together, like keep that in mind. Keep it in mind to like provide a beautiful experience that's more than just like showing up, having a ceremony, taking photos, and going home. You want.
That's the big thing. That's the big reason why we made our packages longer. Is we didn't want it to feel. We didn't want to be rushed, just doing photos all the time. We wanted to build in time, to just like hang out and have conversations and drink a beer and like
watch the sunset.
Let them walk off alone and have some time together. And so our days kind of got progressively longer, but I will say like most of our days are around 6 to 8 hours, but around that, and that includes the hiking.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then if you guys have any more questions, ask us some more. I think I would love to limit this thing to be less than an hour, because then if it's too long, then like we'll all be drunk by the end of the night. So here's another question. Wait, where is it? How do you protect your camera when it's raining?
We don't.
We don't.
Okay, I'll drink to that.
Yeah, we drink to that. We put them in rice bags after the fact.
Every time we get a new piece of equipment, whether it's a lens or a camera, we like open the box and we're just like, I'm so sorry.
Honestly, it's a good argument.
So bad for you.
It's a good argument for professional level gear. Most full frame cameras and professional lenses will have weather sealing.
Yeah.
Which will allow you to shoot in the rain. I mean, because quite frankly, like we could try and use some bags and stuff, but like elopements are so run and gun, and you're just like, you're hiking, you're out there. It's a hassle to deal with that. So most of the time we just end up shooting. Maybe we'll hold up an umbrella if it's like really coming down, but our cameras take they get wet. But
and
the weather sealing, they hold up.
Like I guess I would not recommend this. I would if you can figure out a way for your system and your workflow while you're shooting to like protect your gear, definitely do it. We have like Gorilla, what do you call them?
It's like silicone cases.
Silicone cases for them. and all of our gear is weather sealed. So, you know.
But last year when we were shooting in a lot of rain, be careful when you put your cameras back in the bag. Let them stay open to the air. Don't zip it up because they will condense. And we've had like our 85 was fogged up for like 3 days. So if you try to shoot the next day or in a couple days and you want to use that lens, it might, you know, you might not have it might be foggy still. So don't put it in an enclosed bag.
What about you, Henry? I'd love if you got a solution for this. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. They got me an umbrella hat, but I don't actually. So I posted a TikTok about it, but I have never actually used it in real life.
I remember that. I actually was really envious of that.
Like, I think maybe when I get to go out again, I'll try again. But like, I keep forgetting about that. You know, like when you talk about like packing your gears and like packing stuff for your clients, like my backpack for like, let's just say a 3 miles hike. Like I already have like my gears, like not hot pockets, but like the hand warmers thing, like all these extra stuff. So like it's so full that I don't want to bring an umbrella for myself. You know, so I keep forgetting. But a lot of time I would wear my, do you guys wear like a hold fast or like a strap thing? Like,
we got a dual harness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I have like dual harness, and then I would put my whatever jacket I wear outside of that. And I don't zip it up so that when I take photos, I can move. Like I would still be able to move up and down. So then let's just say I'm using this camera, my other camera is inside the jacket. So even though I still get rained on, like water still get everywhere, it doesn't get like crazy wet.
I like to kind of hold my cameras and like punch over them and pretend like that's doing something.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's not, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something for it.
It all helps a little.
Yeah. So, you know, with the rain here in the Pacific Northwest, like my cameras get wet all the time. And when I drive home, like you guys said, I just have my cameras in the back seat. I just have it like sit out, and they don't stay inside my backpack, like lens cap off until the ride home. And then when I get home, I try to get like a towel to dry it even more. And then let's see. I like this one. No question, but I adore all of you. Thank you.
I can't see anyone's names, but whoever's like commenting and saying these things, we love you all.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll show you guys real quick. So I have the iPad on, so I can see who's saying what on like another screen. Yeah, but we can't see it on this screen. Okay. Oh, I like this.
That's a really good question.
Good one. What's the best investment you've done for your business? Cheers.
Early on, it was those Facebook ads, probably.
But
I don't think those Facebook ads would have landed if we didn't invest. It's not always money. Sometimes it's just investing time, you know, delaying putting the product out there until you've got something that you're like really, really feel good about. And by that, I mean like really solid copy on your website, a beautiful website. I mean, all of that is an investment in money and time. You know, you always want to put out a product that you're super proud of and that looks as pro as possible.
But I think too, like, I mean, man, it's hard. Like, I would say, like, a huge, I don't know if this really counts as an investment, but like something that we've always really tried to do is invest in our own time and like in ourselves and in like our hobbies and like things that we love to do and things that keep us inspired, and like not just business, shooting. Like we've definitely like gotten in rhythms like that before, but we always snap ourselves out and we're like, let's take the entire month off. We're not answering inquiries. We're literally putting up a booking break on our website. Like we've done that many times. Like we're not taking your inquiries right now. let's go climb. Like, you know, the business can fucking wait, and like we need to feed our souls. And I think like that we always come back from those breaks and those like us times. We always come back so
way
inspired,
more inspired,
so
really
psyched.
fresh, creative energy.
Yeah, every single
Yeah.
time. Like I think that's honestly the biggest investment we've made, or one of them. One of them.
Yeah. I remember when you guys last year, you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna take the Airstream and go down to like the desert, and I'm here like, oh my gosh, why can't I do that? I need to do that more.
Yeah, it's important to give yourself
important.
some time. You know, we're not always good at it, but it's as creatives, I think it's mandatory to like just take a break sometimes. Like, invest in your personal time outside of the work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
There's more to life than business, and it's funny how the stuff outside of your business actually influences your business. So
Yeah. So, because like that feeling at the end of your wedding season, that's the same thing. Like you've just been working, and the last 2 or 3 weddings of your season, you're just like, oh gosh, I just want this to be over with.
finish line. Yeah.
So we'll take one last question, and then I'll let you guys go. Do you send a wedding magazine or questionnaire to your clients? Cheers.
I'm almost
Wow, you're done.
I know.
You're taking like half sips, Henry.
I know, like, it's not even half gone on there.
So what we do send, we prefer to like put as much information out there to give all the information to the couples as possible, just right on our public site, so they know our pricing, they know what our experience is like, so that when they're reaching out to us, there's kind of like no lingering questions of like whether or not they're ready to book or not. Like they know the answers to all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we do have an additional page that like dives deeper into all the little details that we send them after they've inquired. Just like it has a ton of FAQs, more info on our approach. And I think that's really helpful because like that's not stuff you need to have on your public website necessarily, but it's really nice once you have someone who's like, okay, they're definitely interested, they can now look at the second tier of information. And that can like really help. We honestly did that for phone calls so that we weren't answering the same questions over and over again on phone calls, and we could spend more time just getting to know the couple and talking about all the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we do send a questionnaire out too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got a couple questionnaires that we send out just to like get more information about like them and the kind of like after we've booked them, get more information about like them and like the kind of wedding that or elopement that they envision, and like the kind of elements that they want to incorporate into their day. And so we've got questionnaires that we send out too.
Perfect. All right, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Cheers.
Let's see. Hold on. I do have 2 more things I want you guys to talk about before I let you guys go. First is what have you guys been up to in quarantine? How do you keep busy, like to stay inspired? And then the last thing is if people here want to know more about you, learn from you, what are some of the resources that you guys have available, whether it's free on your website or for purchase, like presets or whatever else? Just let us know everything about you.
Cool.
Go for it.
You want me to go for it?
Yeah.
I'll start. So we're project people. We can't ever just like fucking hang out and chill. We have to be doing something that's ridiculous. So we've just like attacked a lot of projects around our house. We built like this roof covering this like super cozy space in our backyard that's like amazing. We've got like honeysuckle growing, like it's incredible, it's beautiful, it's so fun. So we've been doing things like that around the house. We play music together.
I've seen the Insta stories.
Yeah.
We're
working on it.
It's improving.
Yeah.
That's good.
I took a couple singing lessons. It's like getting a little better. So we're cooking all the time. Like we're having fun together. Like that's like personal stuff we've been doing. We've been working on
But we are also working like crazy on business stuff. I'm sure, everyone else has that feeling of like, oh, okay, we're not out shooting. We got all this downtime. Like I should be working on the business. And like, we are guilty of that. Hardcore. Like we have been working more than ever, but it's like, it's been fun. It's been stuff that we've been wanting to do for so long.
Yeah.
We've got a big project that we're releasing on Monday.
And this kind of goes into your second question. It's like all of our education stuff. Like we have been something we've been thinking about for the last year, 2 years. Kind of gradually putting stuff out there, and we finally have the time to like create a platform for it. So that's what we've been working on. And that's
so Monday. What time so I can like be the first to know?
Yeah, so it's launching on Monday. I hope we can like it's launching Monday.
Okay.
You can go to fromthefoxes.com and enter your email and get a notification for when we officially launch it. But
it is going to be our hub
so
for
excited.
All things education, sharing all of our knowledge, free and more involved, detailed stuff. And basically it's a collection of all the stuff that we've put out already and some new things. And we are like so psyched and dedicated to kind of, split. This is going to be a big portion. Like this is a new business. Like we're really excited to start investing back into the community a bit and sharing all this stuff that we've learned over the last few years. So we kind of like have a platform instead of one little tab on our photography website. This is like its whole thing. So
yeah, that's exciting.
I'm so excited. So yeah. fromthefoxes.com.
Until then, from now to that day, do you guys have anything like that you guys help photographer like editing or like that you sell or anything at all? Like you have your presets?
I would say don't even bother. Like we've got presets, but like the stuff that's on our website right now is just like janky as fuck. Just wait. Just wait for the launch of this new site. It's very exciting. And yeah, there's it's gonna be amazing.
I'll link that. So at the end of this video thing, like I'll post a whole link on Facebook. So just fromthefoxes.com. That's what we're gonna do.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, you guys. This has been it's been awesome. Like, you shared so much more than I initially thought we were gonna talk about. So I really hope people sitting at home get to learn a little bit more about you guys, the Foxes, the things you guys do, and also maybe get their toes in the elopement photography water.
Yeah. This is super fun. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Yeah.
All right. Cheers. All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.